At this time, I have the pleasure of making a couple of announcements. And I'm going to make a couple of great introductions, and some people don't need introductions because we've all known them. And this person I'm going to introduce you to, I went back to research how long has he been coming and supporting us here at the Family Café. So I went back and looked at old Family Café programs. Yep, there he was. Yep, there he was. Yep, there he was. And then I started getting nervous. Well, maybe he's been here as long as I've been here. So, no, but you're getting close. You're getting real close. 2008, do you realize that he's been here almost a dozen years? I think he skipped 1 year. Folks, that's commitment. Yeah, give it up. He's here with his son tonight. I'm going to say there's probably many a vacation that you haven't had because we've pulled him away. So I apologize now. And you can empathize with my kids. They're in the audience too. But I just want to thank you, sir. And I think everybody in here when I get through, a dozen years. A dozen years. Almost a dozen. Well, I'm going to call it an even dozen. Baker's dozen almost. That's a long time. And not only been here, but he's been supporting us. And I mean us to all of us here. If it wasn't for this great leader here, and I'll tell you his name in a minute, but I bet you all know, we wouldn't be having a Family Café. He took over the helms of supporting us from then Governor Jeb Bush, and he made like a quiet pact between us, like I got your back. Well, I'm gonna tell you, we all have your back, sir. Today, tomorrow, and forever. And just to let you know, we are expecting big things. I went back and I looked 5 years ago, we had Dan Marino here, and he kept goofing up and calling you governor. So we're gonna hold you to that, and I keep telling you that, but now I'm making it more out in the open. So at this time, I want to introduce to Senate President Bill Galvano to the stage. And he's going to help me. We're going to do a lot of clapping tonight, folks, so get used to it. If you get tired of clapping, just stomp your feet. We're all hometown folks here. So I've asked him to come up a little bit before he makes his remarks to us. I've asked him if he would share the opportunity, because every year we choose a volunteer of the year. And this person gets the highest honor that we have here at the Family Café, because it's our way, staff's and the board of directors' way, to say thank you. So I'd like the Family Café staff and board of directors to also join me up on stage real quick while I showcase some of the grand opportunities this person has provided us. You know, I went back too and trying to find out how many years that she's been coming with her family. And you know, we're 21 years in, and she's been coming for 20 years. Yeah. Not only coming for 20 years, but 20 years of volunteering. Not only 20 years of volunteering, but 20 years of volunteering and bringing her family back to volunteer. So this mother carries it down further and further. It's generational assistance and help. I'm going to ask, when I say her name, for her family to come up on stage with us too. We might have to make a little room on this side, because she started out in running our cerebral palsy roundtables. Yes, she just dumped her head. She knows now. She's a leader in her community. And her son, you can hear him, he's one of the DJs, the Royal DJs. If you haven't listened to their music, they're awesome. And she's been helping us for, how many years now? 10 years with exhibitors. So if you're an exhibitor in the room, she's helped you. Folks, give a great round of appreciation and thank you to Miss Kathy Seacrest, our 2019 Help me thanks. She's bringing the entire family. We're all going to have to move over. Okay.
Got it here?
Kathy, come stand here. Come stand here. Presented to Kathy Sechrist, the Family Café, and today's June 7th through the 9th, 2019. And Kathy, you're now on the board. She joined you on the board. Many a year ago, so you were on the board too, and you're over there.
That's awesome.
Kathy, he'd like you to step up a little bit more. Senator Galvano.
Oh. Yes.
Okay.
You go, come over here.
How's this?
Oh, well, she took the sign. How's that look?
Jeez.
That's enough. Okay, we're good. We're good. Do you want to say anything?
Okay. All right, I did not expect this. Thank you very much. Family Cafe doesn't realize what they've done for me over the years. They've been a rock, my family, and it's thank you to Lori for creating this for us, because I think we all can say if we didn't have Family Cafe, we wouldn't be able to have the knowledge through the years of learning how to get through what we accomplish with our loved ones that have a disability. So thank you very much. I'm so, and Bella, don't drop that. I like giving back in my community and for the state, because now it's my community, but also now the whole state. But I always like giving back because I figure it's a way that I can share my knowledge or learn more from other people, because we all can learn from each other. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to put her sign up on the board in just a second, so thank you all. You stay with me. I need a helper. Okay. So if the...
Yeah, we're all here.
Okay. And we're not. No, I'm teasing. Now I'm going to ask that Senator Bill Galvano stay on the stage for us, and we're all going to allow him to give his opening remarks. Ready, guys?
You want to have them flip the board?
Yeah, I'm going to have the little girls help me.
Great. Thank you, Lori, and congratulations, Kathy. Fantastic. One more round of applause. It's so wonderful to be here with you all tonight. And yes, it has been a dozen years, and I think the year I missed is because the governor called us back into a special session, so I had to send a video. But as Kathy said, I thank you all for the value that you brought to my life and my time in coming here and spending time with you. And Lori had mentioned Governor Jeb Bush, and the truth is, when I first got elected, I was speaking with Governor Bush, and he told me about the Family Café, and he told me how special it was, and that he thought I should go to it. And of course, if the governor tells you something and you're a freshman House member, you're going to do it. And I came, I learned, I was inspired, and it has started a partnership that has continued for many, many years. I thought I'd give you a brief overview of our our session and then talk a little bit about the issues and funding that are specific to the people who have gathered here today. But again, it's really great to be here. Before I go any further, we are now joined by the First Lady of the Florida Senate, Julie Galvano. Julie. So just a little over a month ago, we finished session, our legislative session. And if I say so myself, it was one of the most productive legislative sessions that we've had that I can remember, frankly. And it didn't start out easy because we went in right after Hurricane Michael had hit the Panhandle, tremendous fiscal impact to that area. Actually, it was more costly than Hurricane Irma that hit all of the state of Florida, simply because this was such an acute storm and hit an area of communities that were not quite as well healed and able to respond and be as resilient as others. But we were able to make the tough decisions and prioritize, and at the end of the day, we put $1.8 billion into recovery of Hurricane Michael. 1.8. Thank you. But even dealing with that, we still had to continue to focus on the issues that were important to all of you and all of Floridians. And we went through them one by one, did the work. It wasn't always easy, but we made sure that we were successful in completing the task, whether it be continuation of improving school safety for all of our children that go to schools here in the state of Florida. Environmental spending. Many of you remember that over the last year we've had to deal with blue-green algae in certain parts of the state that have come from Lake Okeechobee and into canals, the red tide that plagued our coast, and other issues that required us to step up very firmly and act. And I'm proud to say that we had put $656 million towards environmental concerns to make sure that this state stays the environment that people want to live in, work in, and play in. And, before I go any further, I have to highlight something else, too. I had a great partner with Speaker Jose Oliva in the Florida House. He did a great job. And we also have a great new governor in Governor Ron DeSantis. Absolutely. And when you work together, it's amazing what you can accomplish. And this session was an example of that. We also addressed infrastructure in the state of Florida, and we're right at the epicenter of why we need to address infrastructure. But it is what will help us continue our growth into the future. Do you realize that every day 850 people move to the state of Florida? That's not just visit, that's move here. Then you have millions who visit. Last year, 75 million people visited Orlando, where we are right now here today. #1 destination in the world. And Florida is the 14th largest economy in the world. And every year, our population grows by a number of people equal to that of the city of Orlando. So we had to make sure that we were looking forward, not backwards and trying to fix problems or trying to keep up, but to have a vision going forward, and that's what we did with infrastructure. And while we were addressing all these issues, we still had to make sure that we were being fair to Florida families and continued, which basically has happened my entire career, tax relief for Florida families. Tax relief to be prepared for hurricanes. And I think that's going on right now, or it may have just ended. Yes. Tax relief to be able to prepare for school and to get the items and the supplies you need without having to pay the government while you're doing it. And this is important. We will continue to do that going forward. And then in healthcare, some very, very innovative reforms. And the Speaker of the House led the charge on these, but we embraced it as we created an opportunity to lower the cost of prescription drugs, to make access to healthcare providers and other more affordable and more ready to be out there. But I think important to us here today, this is something I'm really proud of because it reflects not just my priority, which you know where my heart is, but the priority of the Florida legislature and the governor. When I tell you this year's budget had $400 million for people with unique abilities and their families. $400 million. Whether it was $50 million for Agency for Persons with Disabilities, including a residential habitation increase for providers almost at $30. Fully funding the Gardner Scholarship, somewhere around $147 million with another $25 million increase on that. $2.75 million for special needs adoption. $2 million for legal service. You can clap, absolutely. $2.7 million for legal representation. Over $100 million for vocational rehab. Very, very important. It's something that I prioritized when I chaired Education Appropriations on my way to becoming the Senate President. But throughout the budget, we were there, whether it was Best Buddies, $3 million for Easter seals statewide, for money for centers for persons with unique abilities. Because that population, our population, is very special to us. But you know what I'm really proud about here tonight? That we put $900,000 towards the Family Café. It's the highest funding year yet, and the Senate President may have had something to do with that. But throughout my Senate career, we funded it at $3.2 million, and I'm proud to say that I've been the sponsor of that funding. Why? Because, yes, there is a history, there's a partnership, but I've realized long ago the value of the organization and especially the value of this summit that takes place every year. You know, what we do here together is not just provide needed access to information, not just to find ways to get support and to share support one to another, but it is also a place of fellowship. Amen. It is a place of fellowship, a place of sharing with each other our dreams, our goals, our desires, and helping each other work through the challenges that we face. And most importantly, it is about bringing a wonderful, beautiful community of Floridians together to share one to another, and I'm so proud to be part of it. And that's why I will always support the Family Café. Always. And I'll make sure those who are in the Senate after me do while I'm off doing something else, which I might one day talk to you about right from this stage. But I have to tell you something else. You know, I've told you the highlights of what we did this session and how successful it is, but there's one theme that ran throughout the session that was the foundation of our session that made the biggest difference. And that is a theme of civility. When I took over as Senate President, I challenged the senators. I said, let us have the debate. Let's not fear the debate. But it's time we stop making the debate about fear and that we make it about policy and budget, but do it respectfully. Have that discourse. To have it with the Florida House of Representatives, to have it with the governor on the plaza level, And both those partners and their collective agencies or their collective branches and their members all shared that view. And it was refreshing to move away from gamesmanship and one-upmanship and to have a team working together, not always agreeing, but working together towards a common goal. And you know, when we have the 24-hour news cycle and the social media that goes on today, and frankly, when I see what goes on in Washington, I sometimes just want to put my head in my hands. But I told the senators that let's start by being the example. Let us be the example and show the world what we can accomplish when we are civil. At the end of the day, it comes down to this. Floridians deserve our best. They deserve the very best that we could be, not just as legislators, as budget drafters, but as human beings, one to another. You deserve my best. And when you interact with those of us who would take on the mantle of running for office and saying that we'll represent you, whether it be at the local level, the state level, or in Washington, D.C., demand our best when you see us. I'll finish with this. I will always, always strive to do my best and to give you all of my heart. I really, really love each and every one of you, and I appreciate, Lori, everything that you've done and the friendship that you share and every member of your board. And it's called the Family Café because we are a family, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your family. God bless you all.
Okay, great. Good Lord, was that great, huh? What do you think? Yes, that's it. That's right. So we're going to hold you to it forever and ever. Good. Well, that just blew me away. Thank you, Senate President Bill Galvano. Now, he is going to stay afterwards and take pictures. Okay, when we're doing the, after our next session. Now, some of you have asked me, so where's the governor? He'll be here, not today though, I'm so sorry. Schedule conflicts, we all know how that works, so he'll be here Sunday morning at 10:30. So I invite you to come back before our Sunday morning keynote, and he's going to have some brief remarks and say hello to you all, okay? He does realize how important it is for us to be here. So I know Sunday you'll all stay here and we'll have an opportunity to hear from him. But right now we have an opportunity to hear from some of our other agency leadership, and I'm going to invite them to the stage at this time. Department of Education, right? Yes, college graduate here too. Makes my mother proud. Department of Education, Chancellor Oliva. Vocational Rehabilitation, Director Allison Flanagan. Department of Children and Families, Jill Crone. Department of Health, Director Cassandra Paisley. Agency for Healthcare Administration, Secretary Mayhew. Agency for Persons with Disabilities, Director Barbara Palmer. Able United, John Finch. And while they're coming to the stage, I'm going to tell you they're going to come up here and say a couple of brief remarks, the state of the state, what their agency is doing this year, some highlights. And they too will be around afterwards to take questions and answers. But I wouldn't be right if I didn't say my silly plug. If for any reason you don't get your question answered, or you have one of those, gosh, I wish I would have asked it to them when they were here, we have our pink cards. We publish these pink cards, your questions, your comments, etc. We go back to the office, we divide them, and around Christmas time, you'll get a publication of our question and answer booklets. So, if I was back in school, I would say no question's a dumb question. So I encourage you to participate then. So I'm going to call you up the way I called you before. So we're going to start with the Department of Education. Chancellor Oliva.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I guess I get to start off. I was hoping to get to see somebody else go first so I could follow their example. But my name is Jacob Oliva, and I have the distinct honor and privilege of serving as the Chancellor of Education with the Florida Department of Education in the Division of K-12. And we have a lot of exciting things that we like to share, but we only have a few minutes to share them. And I can tell you that it's an honor and privilege to stand here before you. The Family Café is a big deal to us here at the department because we have a lot of folks that get very excited about supporting this work, supporting the breakout sessions, and supporting the event. So we're really privileged to be a part of the venue and excited to continue supporting this initiative. When we talk about some of the progress that we've made in the state, we are very, very blessed with our leadership that we're receiving from Governor DeSantis by setting some expectations for the state of Florida to be #1 in workforce readiness by the year 2030. That is a big deal. And when we reflect on that, we're very fortunate and privileged to have a Commissioner of Education, Commissioner Corcoran, who understands that if we're going to meet that goal, we have to support all of our students in public education, and all means all. And getting students, thank you. Getting students prepared to be on a pathway to success is one of the big, exciting, bold visions that we are going to look forward to collaborating with you as we move and support these initiatives. Part of being successful in transitioning to workforce readiness is high school graduation. Is there any recent high school graduates here with us tonight that we could say congratulations, class of 2019? Oh, that's Keaton. So interestingly enough, before joining the state, I worked in the school district where Keaton, I remember when he started VPK, I have a special education background. That's where I started my teaching, so I could see even my little babies are all growing up. So I have not seen him in a couple of years, but I recognized him right away. So congratulations. This past year for the 2018, our students with disabilities hit an all-time high in graduation rate on a standard access diploma at 79.6% of our students. I can tell you, 15, 20 years ago, it was less than half of that. So we've made some great strides, and we know we still have a lot of work to do. And one little piece of information I'm really excited about is we started getting back some of our data from this school year, and recently we received our 3rd grade test scores, and our students with disabilities in 3rd grade increased by 2% performing at or above grade level, which equals thousands of students. And we know when we invest in our students at an early age and can get them performing and meeting and exceeding grade level expectations, that's going to lead to high school diplomas, and that's going to put them on the pathway to success for life. And if we can continue to work together, and I'm going to steal the quote from Kathy Seacrest as I was listening to her, and I love this statement, we can all learn from each other. And that's what we're here to do as a Department of Education. That's why we support this initiative, and that's why we work forward to collaborating with you so that we can meet our visions in the future. So thank you for allowing us to be here.
Thank you, sir. Like I said, that was a good quote, Kathy. Next, from Vocational Rehabilitation, Director Allison Flanagan.
Hi, good evening. It's an honor to be here. I want to thank Lori and all the Family Café staff and all the hard work you do to pull off this event. It's such a great event. I first want to ask, how many here are familiar with vocational rehabilitation? There's a lot. Florida's a big state. I moved here from Kentucky a couple years ago, and I retired up there with vocational rehabilitation. So I knew all that background, and then I came down here to Florida, and I was like, oh my goodness, Kentucky's so tiny compared to this. And I'm still learning my geography, by the way. But the one thing that is common, no matter where you are, is the public VR program is here to help you find a job, or maybe help you keep the job if you're at risk of losing it, or maybe you want to advance in the job that you have. That's what we're here for. We have about 96 offices across the state, so if you are interested in working or you need help keeping that job, reach out to that local office and your VR counselor and let us work with you. The key about Voc Rehab, though, is all the providers and partners that we work with. And honestly, every entity that's here at this cafe works with us, and we work as a partner because it takes everybody to help each other. It's kind of like what Jacob said a moment ago. So the public VR program, we're actually getting ready to celebrate a milestone, 100 years. Yep. The vocational rehabilitation program started in 1920. It's what's called the Smith Fest Act. It actually started as a program to help veterans coming back from war. And that's where it all started. The injured veterans that came back, they needed help going back to work. And through these years, over these 100 years, it has evolved to helping all individuals with disabilities, not just our veterans, but everybody. So it's such an honor to be here. And vocational rehabilitation has several sessions. I know some of you all have probably attended some today. We have more sessions tomorrow. We'll have an informative session tomorrow afternoon as well where you can attend. If you're not familiar with us, I encourage you to attend the 2:30 session where we're going to share a little bit about how you reach out to us, what the services are. We're a very individualized program. So that's the unique part about us. It's very hard for me to explain in those black and white terms exactly what you will receive with us because we look at you and we look at what your interests are, what your abilities, what your strengths. What do you want to do for the rest of your life? Because we all know work is more than a paycheck. Work is about being a contributing person in your community. It's about meeting those colleagues and making lifelong friends. It's so much more than just the money. So that's why we want to help you. And I hope everyone has a fantastic Family Cafe.
Thank you, Director Flanagan. Next is Department of Children and Families, Jill Crone. Jill?
Good evening. As she mentioned, my name is Jill Crone, and I am the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Director for the Central Region for the Department of Children and Families. Thank you. I'd also like to begin with the families that were affected by the 2 recent hurricanes. Those families were left working to pick up the pieces that were created out of that devastation. I personally witnessed the great team of individuals we have at the department, as I was part of the team that went to various areas to help those families mitigate the losses that they had experienced. It was pretty incredible to see our team get together and go to these various areas to support these families. Whether it was our relentless work to ensure that families had the necessary means to supplement their food during that time, or whether it was our child protective investigators that went to other areas that became shorthand because some of those individuals actually experienced loss themselves. I truly knew that I was part of a great team, as I said. We quickly banded together, we went out there, and we got to help families that were in true need. And so I stand here as representative for DCF. I want you to know that Secretary Chad Popham views the work of our agency with great reverence. With over 23,000 children part of the foster care system, each one of these children are a part of our family, and they deserve our very best. When Governor DeSantis appointed Secretary Popham to lead the Department of Children and Families, there was a clear mission to create bold and meaningful change. Secretary Popham was the former secretary of the Department of Management Services, as well as the chief of human resources for the city of Jacksonville. He has nearly 2 decades of experience overseeing large care networks and providing high-quality service. Since his appointment, Secretary Popple has championed several key initiatives. I have some notes here, so I do not miss any of them, but they're pretty exciting. Secretary Popple would like to shift 25% of agency resources to pre-crisis interactions by 2021, moving families out of a crisis into a safe, stable, and sustainable environment more efficiently, decreasing the number of child deaths by 10% each year until there are 0, and creating a culture that embraces innovation to save 2 million hours of employee time by 2021. Several new regional directors have been appointed to serve in DCF regions throughout the state to not only provide a fresh perspective on regional operations, but also to help advance the key initiatives of the agency. With the Secretary's laser focus on collaboration and innovation, DCF is ready to successfully navigate the upcoming critical changes to the child welfare system. Once again, it is truly an honor to be with you, and I thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Jill. Next, I'm pleased to present to you the representing the Department of Health, Director Cassandra Paisley.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. The Department of Health has participated in this event over the last several years, and we really appreciate the opportunity to bring our different programs here and to collaborate and hear from our customers, which are many members of this community. There are numerous programs at the Department of Health that serve individuals with disabilities and who have special health care needs. The Division of Children's Medical Services, which I oversee, is responsible for the Early Steps Program, newborn screening, child protection team, child abuse death review, sexual abuse treatment programs, and a couple of other programs that serve children with special health care needs. One of the great things that is happening right now in CMS is the expansion of disorders that we're screening for in the newborn screening panel. And in May 2018, we started screening for X-linked ALD. It's adrenoleukodystrophy. And we have 3 disorders that we are about to begin screening for, which is absolutely amazing. Many of you might know that very recently some treatments for spinal muscular atrophy have been approved by the Food and Drug Administration. So we're on track to begin screening for SMA, Pompe disease, and MPS I in 2020. The Early Steps program, which probably has the most, you all probably have the most experience with, that program serves individuals with developmental disabilities or delay, and based upon maybe an established condition, say if a child is diagnosed with autism or Down syndrome, that child is automatically eligible for Early Steps. But also children are screened, and depending upon their extent of delay, they would then also be eligible for Early Steps through that pathway. But the change, about 2 or 3 years ago, we started screening children, we started serving in Early Steps children who were at risk for developmental delay based upon a condition that they might have had. This extension of the program will allow us to be a partner with serving families who have neonatal abstinence syndrome and other conditions that are likely to lead to delay, so we can monitor those families and serve them, and if we start to see delay, intervene as quickly as possible, because the earlier we intervene, the better the outcome is for the child. Thank you. So I have a list of a lot of other programs, but I'm going to jump to the end. I have a charge to come here and talk to you all about preparation for hurricane season. We at the Department of Health are responsible for manning the special needs shelters. And in order to do that well and effective, we need to know how many people are likely to need special needs shelters. So to know that, you need to register with your local emergency management agency so that we can be prepared to have the staff, the resources, and the capacity to serve you all in the special needs shelters. There is a registration. It's Florida Special Needs Registry, and the website is floridadisaster.org. So registering prior to the storm will assist us in being better prepared to serve you, provide information, and communicate whatever is the latest information that is happening as it relates to the storm and your part of the state. So the rest of the topics, I will share them with Lori, and it will be a part of future communications. I just want to thank you all for permitting Department of Health to be a part of this. Please visit our booths, and I don't want to abuse this privilege, but we have a massive team in the room. We have early steps, we have brain and spinal cord injury. So if the Department of Health team members who are in the room, the local early steps program, if you could stand up, this is the only way and the best opportunity I have to thank you for all that you do. Please stand up. Thank you all.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing up hurricane season. Started in July, so she's right. There's no reason why you shouldn't be prepared this season. So I'm a little tickled right now. If you've noticed, I've been switching seats, and so far I've decided that not all the seats are the same height. So I'm really concerned where I'll be on the next three. My next introduction is for the Agency of Healthcare Administration with Secretary Mary Mayhew.
Well, good evening. I feel like we should just all be breaking out in song. We are family. Woo! I was enjoying all the dancing and the music. It's getting kind of dry up here now. But I am so excited to be here, to be with all of you, because here's the one message for you. If we're not working for you, it's not working. If we're not supporting your dreams, then we are failing you. So I oversee the Agency for Healthcare Administration, large government agency, the Medicaid program. It's $28 billion a year, serving almost 4 million Floridians. But the only thing that matters when that money gets spent is it working for you? Is it making a difference for all of you, for your families? You need to hold us accountable. Are we making a difference for you? Now, Governor DeSantis has asked me to lead this agency. And the one thing I know about government is we can make things awfully complicated. Would you agree? Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's my job to break through all of those complicated regulations, all of those acronyms that nobody understands, and actually determine, are you getting what you need, and is it making a difference? I'm also excited to partner with so many of the agencies that are up here on stage today. Because here's the other thing that I know. It's not just about Medicaid. It's not just about the Department of Education or the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. It's about all of us together working for you. And we are working for you, and we are working together. And we are going to lead and support and help you achieve your dreams and make a difference in your lives. But here's my ask of you, because there's a lot of noise sometimes in government, and we need you to raise your voices so that you are heard and that we are responding to you. Because government can't be all things to all people, but it most assuredly needs to be working for you. So thank you so much for being here. And I am really excited to hear your questions and your comments and look forward to working closely with you. Lori, where's Lori? Hey, Lori, she's in my chair. Lori, thank you. Thank you for having us here, and thank you for everything that you do. This is just such an impressive organization, and I'm truly excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
So your chair's too soft. If I was Goldilocks and the Three Bears, her chair's too soft. Next, we have the honor to introduce to you the Agency of Persons with Disabilities, Director Barbara Palmer.
Hi. Come on. Hi. Is everybody having fun? Question. Have you learned anything today? Oh, that's wonderful. Are you going to learn something tomorrow? Have you had fun? A really big question. Have you met a new friend? Well, I'm going to give you an opportunity to meet another new friend. I want you to look around where you are right now and see somebody you have not met, and I want you to turn around and tell them your name, what you do, say something about yourself. Meet a new person. Okay, that's friendly enough. That's friendly enough. Okay, let me just say this. I guess I can say something. Hey, I know you're having fun, but can I please finish? Okay, you know, Senator Galvano, I want to say this to you. Senator Galvano is not just a fine, fine man, and he is. He is truly your champion. Your champion. And let me tell you why that's important. By the way, tomorrow I have a session at 1 o'clock. And at 1 o'clock, I'm going to talk about waivers, and I'm going to talk about wait lists, and I'm going to talk about all the things that I know most of you in this room want to talk about, okay? So I'm not going to talk about any of that right now. I'm going to talk to you about something else. When you have a champion, that champion, and this is really, really important, that champion needs help because he cannot do it alone. And I have told you this before in the past. And it's really important. Every single one of you, and I'm not kidding, needs to go to your local legislative offices. You need to talk to them about what your needs are, because he knows. But there are so many other legislators that don't know, and he can't carry it all. And it's really important. Okay, yes, clap to that, because he can't carry it all. So I'm asking each and every one of you, I'm serious, I did this last year. How many of you went to see a legislator last year? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, yes, you have. How many of you are going to go this year? Come on, get those hands up. All right. And when you go, what you do is you talk to them about your life. You talk about your life. You don't have to make up a story. You talk about what you do every day. What does it take for you to be happy in life and to be productive and to get a job and to do all of those things that you need to do? That's what they need to hear, because this man and others can help figure out how to fund it. And we're going to be working on some new, exciting things in the future, because we've got some partners now. Mary Mayhew is awesome. Let me tell you, she is. And I've had 5 meetings with her now on ways that we can work together and do more things for you. So that's part of what I wanted to tell you. I also want to tell you, I want to say, which is something that everybody does, but Lori Fahey, I want to tell you, you and your team, I've been coming 7 years now, so I feel like a little rookie. You're talking about a dozen, and you're talking about 20 and 21. But 7 years, though, I have seen the growth. That is unbelievable. I mean, look at the exhibit hall. Look at all the stuff you get to learn. It's just phenomenal. So let's give her and her whole team another huge round of applause. I'll see you tomorrow at 1.
Thank you, Director. Last but not least, Able United, Director John Finch.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you all for an opportunity to tell you about who I am. Who is John Finch? Who is Able United? What is that? So Lori said last but not least, but I am the new kid on the block. My program, this state program, has only been up and running for 3 years. So what I need to do is a better job of educating you all of what an ABLE program is. And you know where it started at? 10 years ago, when families like you were eating dinner together and say, why is there not a way for me to save for my child with some kind of unique abilities as it is where I could save for my child with typical abilities? Why isn't there a way to do that? Why is it when I save money in their name, they can lose their benefits? That's not fair. And so through hard work of advocates and families just like you, the ABLE program was established. It is a tax-advantaged savings and investment account that allows you to put money aside for various qualified expenses and it not impact your government benefits. And so as the new kid on the block, what I need to do is do a better job of reaching out to these partners and making them partners and educating them and saying, you know, where are there opportunities where people are applying for Medicaid and need to know about ABLE programs and a potential that they can use money in that account and it not count as a resource. Or maybe if it's with APD, when you're signing up for services through APD, that you should know about ABLE programs and that, hey, this is a viable option for you. Or if it comes to Voc Rehab and you're trying to get out there and get employed and now you have this extra money, what should I do with it? Maybe savings is an idea for you. And that's where an ABLE account can come in to help you. And so I'm happy to say, you know, we've only 3 years old, but we've listened to you. One of the biggest concerns we have when we launch is, well, why don't you have an FDIC option, just a regular savings account where I don't have to invest anything? Well, guess what? We rolled that out in March. And so we're listening to you, and we're trying to be nimble to meet your concerns. And like I said, we're new, so we are out there educating you. Come see us in the exhibit hall. We have a meeting tomorrow as well from 11 to noon to learn more about ABLE programs. But I'm just so glad to be part of this family, because it truly is. That's so unique compared to any other organization or jobs you might have. But the disability field really is a family. And so appropriately named, Lori, the Family Café. So thank you all.
Wow, that was a lot of good information, don't you think? Let's give them all another round of applause. And like they said, either they'll be here or their state agencies will be here, either in the exhibit hall or in an educational breakout session. And they're going to all hang around a little bit tonight. Also, Senate President Bill Galvano will hang out a little bit tonight, so for a great photo opportunity, or to share with him some of the great, and give him a thank you. Good Lord, give this man a thank you, okay? And I'm going to say it again. If it wasn't for him, you would all not be here. So we thank him today and tomorrow and always. Thank you, sir. No, thank you.